What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Wild Wormhole YouTube series for new players and returning players. With all this passion around KeyForge right now, I wanted to make a series that's helpful for new players or players who start playing and then kind of went on a hiatus and they're coming back because of all this Winds of Exchange fun. And so I wanted to highlight today one of the most popular and abbreviated combos out there called GenKa. GenKa stands for Martian Generosity, right here, Key Abduction. Now again, when you sit down, when you open a deck, or when you sit down and look at the other deck, you're going to look at your deck list here. This is Sasha Compact Apothecary Delegate, and you'll see this deck actually has two copies of Martian Generosity and Key Abduction, and Glixel Proliferator, which we'll get into later. And being able to look at this and know what it's trying to do is really helpful, whether you're playing it or playing against it. And so, without further ado, we're going to look at Martian Generosity. Gives you an Amber Pit for playing it, and it says play. Lose all of your Amber, draw 2 cards for each Amber lost. Now, on first glance, if you're a new player, you might think, oh my gosh, lose all my Amber? That sounds terrible. But turns out in KeyForge, efficiency and drawing more cards really does make your deck more successful because you're drawing into the cards that make your deck better. So this card is great, and then when it's paired with this other card, Key Abduction, which gives you an Amber Pit for playing it, says play, return each Mars creature to its owner's hand, then you may forge a key at +9 current cost, reduced by 1 Amber for each card in your hand. Okay, so let's assume this is the 6th card in your hand, and we'll just put this, we'll say this is in your deck right here. You've got this board out here. You've got a bunch of Martian guys. You could do all this. You could reap out with all of these guys. The Dominator, the Sky Booster Squadron, the Buckler, the Mindworm, and the Proliferator. But what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to end your turn with 5 Amber if you can. That is ideal. Obviously, you're not at check. You're not with 6 Amber. The opponent isn't worried about your Amber. So that you could maybe reap out, maybe grab a couple Amber from the reaping out. This situation is probably unlikely, but a couple Martians is, realistic. You play Martian Generosity. You get an Amber for playing it. You lose all of your Amber, which right now is 8. That means you draw 16 cards. Okay? So we know that's Key Abduction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, if nothing else happened, right, you've got a giant hand. And all of a sudden you've got a million answers. But this goes here. Then you pull Key Abduction. And it says, hey, you may forge a key at +9 current cost. Okay, let's say current cost is 6. And it goes up to +9. That means it's 15, but it's reduced by 1 for each card in your hand. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 cards in your hand. Which means your keys actually cost, what, -5? Which isn't a thing. It costs 0. So you essentially play Key Abduction, and you get a key for 0 Amber. That, my friends, is a powerful combo. Now, one way to make the combo even more nasty is you got this little Glixel Proliferator. It says reap. If Glixel Proliferator is on a flank, archive a Mars card from your discard pile. So you could archive Martian Generosity before you do the Key Abduction. You take all these guys back into your hand, right? Because these guys would come back to your hand, which is great. Or if Key Abduction gets discarded earlier because of a Mind Barb or something, a subtle auto, you could put Key Abduction into your archives, and pick it up later once you have the Martian Generosity. But this guy opens up a lot of possibilities. Pretty much any deck that has archiving, which this is an Age of Ascension combo, if you get a lot of like logo stuff, Director of ZYX, stuff like that, you can really store these cards away for later and then finally pull off a massive turn where you're just getting this off in like crazy amounts. There are some ways to do this where you play the Key Abduction and you're able to somehow then Proliferator, put it back into your archives the next turn. Like, you don't play any cards and you just get the next turn, play Key Abduction again. there's some really nasty things with this combo, and so it really is like, hey, if you have this in your Mars package, your other houses just immediately get better because of it. So it's very nasty. Age of Ascension has a lot of bad decks, but also has some of the most incredible decks because of this combo. So if you open it, definitely get it on the table, get some reps with it. Even if it's low SAS decks with GenKa tend to perform a lot higher than their SAS scores. So so give it a try. If you see it on the other side of the table, just prepare yourself. And if you have any kind of purging that you can, if Key Abduction hits the discard early or Martian Generosity and you can purge, do it. Get rid of those cards as quickly as you possibly can and hope for the best. Guys, thanks so much for tuning into this. If you've enjoyed this series or enjoyed learning about these combos, please share the series with a new player or returning player. I really just want the KeyForge community to grow and get stronger, so would love for you to share this with them. And appreciate you tuning in. We'll see you in the next one.